Welcome to Healing Body, Mind, and Soul, empowering self-care, self-healing, and self-mastery for a better world. Here's your host, Aeriol Ascher.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for dropping in. This is Ariel with Healing Body, Mind, and Soul. Now, today I have the honor and privilege to be with my good friend, Sue Wilhite. She is so amazing. I'm so excited to be here with her today. She's so fun. Now, I've known her for a couple years, so let me just give you a little background. Sue is an oracle reader. She does EFT. She's a Reiki master teacher. She's into all kinds of juicy, yummy stuff, but it hasn't always been that way. So I'm going to have her share with our listeners today some of her story and how she got in that lane of holistic healing. You're going to love her energy, I promise you. Sue is the perfect synthesis of wise old sage and happy sparkly sprite. You're just going to love it. So thanks for joining us today, Sue.
Hi, Ariel. How are you? Thank you.
You are. Awesome to be with you today. It sounds like you have some fur.
I have a puppy that was sleeping quietly and now is not. And I think the mailman just came.
Awesome. We have that same problem at our house, and I think that our listeners are pretty familiar with Ziggy. So don't feel bad. We do have a lot of fur babies that are guests on our podcast as well.
Yes, and the mailman or the UPS guy.
That's the best part of the day for our fur friends, right? They have a job to do. Hey, Sue, I would love it if you could share with our readers about your business and what you do.
Well, what I do, the short answer of what it is that I do, because, I come from a Celtic background. And as far as we're concerned, you start with 63 million years ago, the dinosaurs walked the earth, and you sort of bring it all up to date. And I know that many people don't want to listen to quite that length of storytelling. So,
well, I would, but we could have multiple podcasts. So,
well, there is that. So the short answer of what I do is I help people get out of their own ways. And my favorite people to help get out of their own ways are small business owners. And not just small business owners, but small business owners who are in service. And those are the people who have the enormous hearts. They want to serve. They want to do something for other people in the world. And sometimes they get in their own way about how they manage to do that. So everything that I do in my business is all designed to help people get out of the way, get their own stuff out there in the world so that they can make the impact on the world and serve in the way that they really have these great ideas to do.
Exactly. I think that so many solo entrepreneurs and also small business owners who are in service, as you say, they're so focused on helping that they forget the self-care aspect, don't they?
That too.
Even when they're talking about the self-care or anything, so they it's a little bit distorted how they're serving sometimes.
Exactly.
When they're really about service and wanting to give. Yet we can't have our own agendas. We really need to sort of let the universe show us where to go in that aspect. At least I think that. Although I'm a go-getter, so a lot of times I'll have a plan, and I get very tenacious about my plan as a business owner, or push, even though my business is about self-care and relaxation. And sometimes I even get stuck in that push energy because I just have my business cap on.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And you're, one of the enlightened ones, Ariel, and so many times.
Thank you so much for saying so.
Well, you listen to the little nudges or pinches by the universe that say, Ariel, did you know that you haven't been going without sleep? Or, how much water have you drunk in the last 24 hours? And so you're going to pay attention. Right. And there are so many people who just go, oh yeah, I'll take care of it later. I'll take care of it later. I'll catch up later. And unfortunately they don't.
Yeah. Or like we said, they just get a little bit skewed because they're focused. They're like a dog with a friend. Yes. They get so focused, and actually your focus is better when you get more sleep and you take care of yourself.
Exactly. I keep telling people, there are particular kinds of hallucinations that show up when you haven't gotten enough sleep that
in varying
don't
degrees
serve anybody.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? Now, Sue, I know for a fact that you haven't always been a healer and a coach. I would love for you to share the story, if you don't mind, of your transition from maybe the real world to the holistic world, or however we want to phrase that. I would love for you to share that story with our listeners.
Yeah. So when I graduated from college with a comparative literature degree, I had no idea what I was going to do. I just got to sit up by the pool and read great books for 4 years. I mean, gosh, what a great college major to have, as far as I was concerned. And I'd been introduced to, programming and computers in my senior year. And what I ended up doing is translating that into a career, just through a whole series of coincidences and serendipity. I ended up turning it into career. And so I worked my way up from being what was then called an operator in the computer world and working for various IT departments in the Silicon Valley. And I worked my way up from being, the grunt who delivered the reports and ripped them off the printer and, did that sort of thing and monitored print runs, to being an IT manager and to an international company. And so that was all very well and fine. And I kind of hit my peak career, and I was getting accolades all over the place because, if I do say so myself, I was a darn good programmer, systems analyst, database person, IT manager. I was really, really good at what I did. And unfortunately, I also had an ulcer.
Ooh.
And the ulcer was so bad that I was on a medication that I had to take every 12 hours. And if I did not take the medication within those 12 hours, at 12 hours and 1 minute, my stomach let me know.
Wow.
It was incredibly painful. It was like acid pouring down my throat, and cramps and everything. And it was
debilitating.
Debilitating, painful. And I kind of lived with it until a friend of mine invited me to a hypnotherapy demo. And at the hypnotherapy demo, the guy who was doing it demonstrated like 3 or 4 different techniques with me. And by the end of it, my ulcer was gone.
Wow. I love those kind of stories.
Gone. Wow.
Like,
I never took medication again.
That is so powerful. And so did you run out and become certified in hypnotherapy?
Almost. It wasn't quite that fast, but I became a Reiki master first.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent a year getting certified as a Reiki master. I had an old-fashioned teacher who was very into making sure that we knew what we were doing and making sure that we did clinics and practiced and practiced and practiced.
God bless the old school teachers.
Right?
Well, I think in Reiki and these hands-on kind of things for sure. I mean, I could do a whole podcast just on this, but yes, I think the training is very important. I think a lot of people get a little bit confused on what Reiki master means sometimes.
Yes. Don't get me started.
Yes. We'll have to do a podcast on that, Sue. I'm sorry to interrupt your story. Yeah, go ahead. So you so you had great training as a Reiki.
So I had great training as a Reiki master. And then I discovered the Palo Alto School of Hypnotherapy and ended up getting trained with Josie Hadley, who was the founder and director of education, and studied for an entire year with her and got into, actually, she was starting a program in medical hypnotherapy and hypnoanesthesiology.
Ooh, juicy.
Which, by the way, just as a little fun factoid, was the path the medical community was going down in the 1800s, was hypnotherapy and hypnoanesthesia.
Mm-hmm.
And they were starting to use that, except this guy, this doctor, whose name, I'm sorry, escapes me, bless his heart, had been studying in India, of all places, excuse me. And he had discovered this chemical called chloroform. And he brought it back to the Royal Society of Scientists in England and did this demonstration. And after that, it was like, forget hypnotherapy. That's taking way too long. Here's the chloroform. It gets people unconscious in minutes. Boom, that's what we're going to do. So the medical community had this holistic answer and went with the chemical answer, which to a certain extent, I can't blame them, because the techniques that they had at the time for hypnotherapy it was like 30 minutes to put somebody under.
Sure.
30 minutes of somebody screaming in pain versus 2 minutes.
Oh, yeah, sure. I got you. Yeah,
right?
I can understand.
The techniques are so much better now. I went through the whole medical hypnotherapy training. I also did EFT, trained in EFT during that time, and really got a huge education in holistic health focus, as it were. Right. And when I discovered EFT, I thought that was the best thing ever, because it was it's so fast. For those of you who don't know what EFT, it's emotional freedom technique, also known as tapping. And there's now a world tapping conference that happens. The medical community is totally getting on board. There's dozens and hundreds of studies about its efficacy. It is great stuff. It's absolutely wonderful. Well, we fast forward, skipping to 63 million years ago, we fast forward to 2014, and I was working as the event manager at East West Bookshop in Mountain View, and we had a guest speaker there who I'd wanted to see for years, a guy by the name of John Beaulieu. And John is a sound healer, and in fact, one of the pioneering sound healers, and he uses tuning forks as a very precise way of delivering sound. Not that he doesn't love bowls. He'll tell you he's got an entire room full of like hundreds of bowls.
Yes.
But tuning forks are very precise in the way that they create and deliver sound.
Yes.
And I just, the short version is my life changed watching him. And I totally got into tuning forks. And within 6 months, I had heard about another tuning fork healer, a woman by the name of Eileen McCusick, who was presenting a technique that she had developed. She had been a student of John's, and she had created a technique called biofield tuning. Mm-hmm. And biofield tuning uses the tuning forks in your electromagnetic field that surrounds you, which turns out to be a recording medium, kind of like old-fashioned vinyl records.
Yeah.
And so the memories and emotions that you experience get written into your electromagnetic field. And the more recent ones are the ones that are closest to your body. And the ones that are farthest away are the ones that you're farthest away from. So about 3-ish feet away, your electromagnetic field extends about 3.5, 4 feet, is what's called the birth conception membrane. And those are the emotions and thoughts and feelings that were around your conception and birth. And then there's stuff all the way in. This technique is utterly mind-blowing. It is so cool. It is one of the most amazing things that I have ever encountered. And I got certified as a practitioner. And in fact, next weekend, I'm going in for advanced training, where I'm not only going to be able to, tune human beings, but I'm really excited because they teach you techniques to use biofield tuning in tuning projects or buildings or bodies of water or trees and plants.
Are you a healing practitioner, teacher, trainer, or coach with a huge message of self-empowerment, healing, or transformation that you want to share out to the world? Then we invite you to join our amazing self-care book project. Visit somasoundtherapy.com. It's time to show up, speak up, and stand out. We are looking for co-authors to join our book opportunity entitled Empowered Self-Care, Healing Body, Mind, and Soul for a Better World. For all the info, just visit us at somasoundtherapy.com. Are you ready to be heard?
This is amazing. This is amazing, amazing, amazing on so many levels. Now, I'm also a sound healer, and Sue and I are like twins separated, but we love all the same stuff, and we get it the way that we get it. It makes so much sense to me. By the way, I wanted to interject, Sue. It's amazing to me. I love your science and art brain, right? I love both sides of that. And I love the forks as a diagnostic tool, right?
Yeah.
This is so, so amazing. And I want to hang out here for a second because I love the fact that the way the fascia runs through our physical bodies, there's like a membrane, a cohesive membrane of emotion that lives in our biofield. And I just think that it's important to stay here for a second so that our listeners really get that. And that with this tuning fork process, if I'm understanding you correctly, you can actually see when things were sort of imprinted so that your client or whoever can to help facilitate clearing of these emotions.
Yes.
Now, Sue also, armed with her EFT and her hypnotherapy and all of her tools, I'm absolutely certain that Sue is head and shoulders above any other practitioners.
Thank you.
Giving you a little boost.
Yeah.
A little boost. Well, I know Sue is a great reader. I've had readings by Sue, and it was such an interesting experience getting a reading by Sue. When I sat down with her, we really didn't have much to say. We kind of saw each other and we looked at the cards and sort of nodded at each other and we're all, yep, that's what's up. And it was such a nice, feeling and really a great release for me just to be seen like that. We didn't even do that much talking about or talk therapy. It was just sort of an instant relaxation at that point.
Thank you.
So I just wanted to give Sue a super plug. Plus, I'm super excited because Sue is going to be one of the co-authors of the upcoming book project that I'm compiling entitled Empowered Self-Care, Healing Body, Mind, and Soul for a Better World. And I chose that For all of the things that we're talking about right now, I chose that title because it's all of those things sort of work together to create the consciousness around us and the biofield, which really affects our space where we are. And the way you were talking about clearing buildings or clearing spaces, can you imagine if some very well-intentioned practitioners started clearing, let's say, big things like countries, governments?
Yes.
You know, I know that there are archangels that are assigned to do these things, and angelic practitioners probably have conversations to send them in there. But on this level, it's so interesting empowering healers to do something, because I know sometimes people get so frustrated sitting in their homes and looking at what's going on in the big picture, but you really can do something.
Yes. And that's one of the things that I love about the biofield tuning is the level of deep change that it does. That it's not just, you know, absolutely no offense to any massage therapist out there, but, you know, you get a massage and it relaxes the muscle for a little while, and then tension and stuff comes up and you get triggered and the muscles go back, you know, the tension comes in. With the biofield tuning, it's, excuse me, helping to relieve the emotional triggers that would cause the tension, would cause you to be back in a situation that the tension might happen, or it would remove triggers so that whatever anger, grief, sadness, things that get into your space don't get into your space. You don't invite them in anymore because the thing that was vibrating at that frequency that was attracting it isn't there anymore.
Absolutely. So your body relaxes because you have that, so the somatic response is gone.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
You can still go climb a mountain and get a sore muscle, but you won't be triggered somatically. You won't be triggered in your body with emotional stuff that's been lingering around from the past. So this is imperative for self-mastery. I mean, we don't want to get triggered, right? I mean, we will, but we don't want to, right? It interferes with, it takes us out of the game for a little while.
Right. And it puts filters on so that we can't see really amazing, juicy opportunities that might come up. Right. So it's not just the triggers that we experience, but it's the lack of opportunity that we experience because we can't see them.
Exactly. You know, I run into this. I teach public speaking to children. I say children of all ages, but to children. And you know, it's interesting. You can see even when they're young, these patterns setting into their body, their stress postures, how they maybe will stress or defend themselves, their defensive posturing and everything. And it's that sort of unconscious stuff that stays with us, you know, for years and years. Having these tools to clear them out of our space is amazingly freeing for anybody, I would assume.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Sue, I am so sold. I am so on board. I'm so on board with the biotuning. I had another friend that I did the vibrational bowl training with, who also became certified in, I think by that same woman you're talking about, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm not mistaken, by this same woman. And I just, oh my God, I got so fascinated. Of course, I think that I'm on the list for that one too. Although I have to, slow my roll once in a while. I'm like a modality junkie. I get so excited because when you master something and you really get the angles that it works at, and then something else is complement. I mean, it just all it all
Right.
goes together. It's amazing. I just love what I do. I love what you do, Sue. Sue, what is one tip that you would give our listeners to empower themselves to heal themselves?
Oh, this is my favorite tip. This has been coming into me for the last couple of months. During December and January, I do a lot of readings at parties. And so I probably saw a couple of hundred people between December and January for the various parties that I did. And consistently, all the people were ending up having these words come out of my mouth. And it seems to be a message for darn near everybody on the planet, but particularly people who are interested in mind, body, spirit activities, even just for themselves, let alone whether they're practitioners. But if you're a practitioner and you're listening to this, you need to really listen up. But everybody can use this. So the message is, no one will value you as much as you do. I'll say it again. No one will value you as much as you do. So if you value yourself at $5 or you value yourself as $60, the highest that anybody else will assign you as a value is $4.99 or $59.99. No one will value you higher than you value yourself. So if the world doesn't seem to be valuing you as much, you might want to raise your own internal value. What are you worth? And I'm putting a dollar value on it because that's easy for our minds to get a hold of. It's easy for our left brains to grab hold of that. But if you don't value you, then you're not going to you're not going to, take care of yourself in terms of sleep or food or exercise or whatever else, getting massages. If you don't value yourself that way, then nobody else, not your employer, not your clients, not your relatives, not your relationships, no one will value you more than that.
Yes. And it lives in your energy. It's not in your day timer, right? It lives in your energy. It's not in your day timer. It's not a to-do list.
Exactly. It's like, I'm worth $1 million. Woo! That's just the way it is, and awesome. Nobody is going to value me less than $900,999.99999. It's like, great, cool. They can value me that much, and maybe in a few years I'll bump it up to 10 million. But when I got clear on that, boy, did my value, people treated me different.
It opens up a lot of space for people to be near you too.
Yes.
Talk in these terms of energy that resides in our biofield. Exactly. It opens up a lot of space for people to be near you and for opportunities to be offered to you.
Yes.
Sue, this is super fun. We're going to have to do this again. Can you really quickly give our listeners a little bit of contact information if they would like to reach out to you?
Yeah. So my main website is thesweetsoundofsuccess.com. Again, that's sweetsoundofsuccess.com. I was totally stunned when that was available like a number of years ago. And I went, I can't believe nobody's got this as a domain. Wow. I didn't even have to modify it at all. So sweetsoundofsuccess.com, right up front, you'll see all my biofield tuning stuff. I also have coaching programs available, and they're in the top little menu there. And there's a contact me form that's there.
Wonderful. And don't forget, everybody, all of that stuff will be down in the show notes. Okay, Sue, I think that is the end of our time. And so I'm going to wrap it up here. I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, not only for spending the time on the podcast, but thank you on behalf of everybody for being a dedicated practitioner and for being up to the wonderful things that you're up to in the world. We are so lucky to have you.
Thank you.
Oh, you bet. All right, everybody. That's going to wrap it up for today. And until next time, I wish you happy healing.
Thanks for joining us for the Healing Body, Mind, and Soul podcast with your host, Aeriol Ascher. Today's program has been brought to you by Soma Sound Therapy and the Healing Body, Mind, and Soul Network.